Hello and welcome. My name is Lee Rogers of Crankpunk Rides. This is I think it's the 6th episode of my YouTube channel. And today I'm going to be taking you for a ride. Well, we're going to be going out there. I live in Tamsui, and just up there, kind of around the corner behind that building, is the lovely place to ride your bike called Yangmingshan, the Yangmingshan National Park. As you can see, COVID's hit, which is not a great state of affairs. Taiwan was doing really well, but all good things must come to an end, I suppose. The good thing is we can still ride our bikes as long as we wear the mask. So today what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take you for a bit of a spin around my local stomping ground and show you some of the cool places where we ride our bikes. So let's go. And welcome to my balcony. See ya.
See ya.
Bye. And there we have the 7-Eleven. Every neighborhood needs a 7-Eleven 30 meters away, or it's way too far. Now before we really get going, let me just apologize a little bit for my slipping mask and also for some of the inconsistencies in this video, because COVID's just arrived, so we can't really ride in groups, or really shouldn't ride with other people. Some of this video was shot pre the COVID explosion, which has been around now for about 4 weeks. And also at the moment we have the plum rain season, so every single day for the next 3 weeks or so it's going to be like this. So some of it was shot a few days ago when the weather was good, and then I realized I had to refilm, and yeah, so here we are. So apologies for it being a bit hotchy-potchy, if that's a word, but I hope you enjoy it. Also, some of it was actually shot on the Sakura Route back in February when the weather was amazing. But I just never got around to using that footage. So COVID has kind of forced me to be a bit, shall we say, creative in hopefully a creative way, and hope it's good. Well, here we are just outside of Tamsui, where I live up in North Taipei, in New Taipei City. I'm just going to take you down my favorite little route, which is just behind my house. This is the route from top to bottom. Around the corner, and then up ahead, up on the hills, you've got these crazy newfangled, super shiny high-rises, and then right down here, you go back in time. It's a beautiful place, so nicely cultured, so nice and clean. Kids playing in the streets. There's grass around, which you don't often see in Taiwan. Surrounded by jungle. I call this the Japanese Valley because there's something so lovingly tidy about this place. Not that Taiwan isn't tidy, but it just has this feeling that everything's sort of meticulously planned, and that they've got it down to a T. And maybe you can see why I love riding up here and down here so much. Of course, right now COVID's hit. We're still in tier 3, but there's a lot more people out and about than usual, and it's quite popular as well, with people just walking around. Someone over there turned into their stuff. Here we have the Giro d'Italia garden. You can see why we call it that. Lovely pink nets. Strawberries here. Some kind of green beans shoots up there. People wearing their mask over here. Little canal down here by the side. Banana trees here, more corn over there. I bring people here all the time, and they're always amazed to see the beauty of the little Japanese valley. And there at the very bottom is just about the most perfect tree I've ever seen. What was that, 90 seconds maybe, 2-minute ride through the valley, the Japanese valley. One of my favorite places to ride my bike in all of Taiwan, and just goes to show the beauty of this island, and what an incredibly fantastic place it is to ride your bike, even in times of COVID with this annoying mask on. One of the cool things about cycling in Taiwan is that there's always something really cool just around the corner. And one of those things, or many of those things, are the temples that are around. And here we are at Wuji Qianyuan Temple. It's famous for its cherry blossoms and for that round temple up there, and this chap here who's doing something with water. Of course, it's not open at the moment due to COVID, and there's this huge boulder painted with gold leaf, which tells you what it is. But yeah, I don't know how many times I've seen a temple, but I never get tired of seeing dragons adorning stuff. And you can see the guys on the top holding their swords up. Yeah. There's other interesting things about cycling here in Taiwan, such as things like this. A tree and a temple bang in the middle of the road. Things you definitely don't expect to see back in North Lancashire. Really hot today. It's 37 degrees at the moment and it's about 90% humidity. I'm sure a lot of you have cycled in 35 degrees heat, but it's when you get that heat, the humidity in the air, there's a dampness that just sort of soaks down into your lungs. And there's that old English song, Mad Dogs and Englishmen go out in the midday sun. I think in Taiwan they just say Englishmen and Englishmen go out in the midday sun, because it would be an insult to suggest that any dog, no matter sane or mad, would be out in this weather. And yet here I am, sweating buckets, with the added loveliness of having to wear a face mask. And there's Marge Simpson at the Binman Cafe. See what I mean? Totally random. You gotta love it. Up that way you go up to the Sakura Route on the north. This way you go up to Balaka, which is a 14k climb, takes you to the top of Yangmingshan. And by the way, if ever you do come to Taiwan and come cycling in Yangmingshan, you're gonna see these things on the ground and wonder just what the hell they are. You see them all over the place. You see there's one there, and if you go over here, there's one there, and if you look over here, there's one there, and there's another one there. Now the reason for these little yellow hands is that somebody made a route up here and they called it the hand, or the butter hand. And basically it's a route you can do it in either direction. And it traces out 4 fingers, the thumb and the palm, over a route that takes about, I think it's about 4,500 meters of climbing. I've not done it yet. I say yet, my knees are shot to pieces and my back's not too good either. That's always my excuse. But it's become one of the sort of the must-do rides for people, especially in Taipei and actually all over Taiwan. It's a very challenging ride. Even if you're fit, you're looking at about 6.5 to 7 hours. No one knows who actually did it. So one of the videos that I'm hoping to make in the future is sort of a hunt to find the man who made the hand. But as it stands, it's a mystery. But it's a really cool mystery. And what's also cool is that no one's come up and sort of scrubbed out the yellow hands all over the road, which is kind of cool. If this was in England, they'd probably been scrubbed out by the local council. So when you see the hands, that means you're on the hand. Now this is Beihai Fuzuo, and Beihai Fuzuo is a cemetery. Look at this place. Isn't that incredible? So here you've got the family plots, I guess wealthy people. Someone gardening future plots down there. There's more up there. You see the Buddha on the hill. And in there, I guess, I'm not sure the correct term, mausoleum or definitely the crematorium. So they cremate the bodies in there, and then they also have these sort of small boxes. And in those small boxes you can put your family's, your ancestors' ashes, and you can go along and visit them every once in a while. Sort of like a P.O. box for the departed. Right down there, just down there, a place called Wan. Lots of cool little, well, a lot of bars actually and cafes on the seafront. Over there is New Taipei, and I live just over that way. It's not the clearest of days, but sure is a nice day to be riding a bike. A bit cooler up here as well. I'm often asked, how and why did I come to Taiwan? Well, I was living in Japan and I'd been there for 10 years. And I've been in Taiwan now for 11 years. But I was racing in the elite pro category in Japan, and for a team, and they were sponsored by Fuji bikes. And then after about a year of this, I was doing pretty well in the races. And then I got offered, I got a phone call from a guy in Taiwan, a Canadian guy who was managing the continental team for Fuji Asia and the bicycle team. And he asked me if I'd like to come to Taiwan to race bikes, to race in the UCI Asia Tour Series. So of course I said yes, and then I also said to him, do you know that I'm 37 years old? Because at the time I just turned 37, And he said, yeah, no problem, come over and give it a go. So he offered me the opportunity to stay in Japan or to come to Taiwan. So I was kind of mulling that over. And at the same time that I was teaching English in Japan and racing, I was also a journalist for a Japanese website called Cycling Time. And in the same week that I got the call from the Canadian guy about the cycling team, I also got another phone call. The owner of the Cycling Time website in Japan asking me if I wanted to be the editor of the Asia version, which was going to be based in Taiwan. Now, as luck would have it, the company where the website was going to be based in was in Taichung, and also the guy who had the cycling team, the manager of the cycling team, he was also in Taichung. So it just seemed to come together in a really strange and coincidental way. Within about 2 months, I'd left Japan and I was living in Taiwan. So that's how I ended up here in Taiwan. Never seen it like this. This is amazing. This is called the Sakura Route for good reason. Absolutely gorgeous. You ever seen it like this?
I've been up here on the Sakura Route.
I've never been with it. I mean, it's a beautiful ride anyway, but
yeah,
it's gorgeous. Damsui and the surrounding area of Yangmingshan are not only beautiful places to live and to ride your bike, as I hope I've shown a little bit in this video. Also, apologies for the weather, it's taken a bit of a turn for the worse. At the moment we have these things called the plum rains, which is the monsoon season. And Taiwan at the moment is really suffering from a really bad drought. So these are more than welcome, but not exactly great when you're making a video or out riding your bike. But the story of Damsui is really quite a fascinating one. At various points, starting from I think mid-1600s, yeah, 17th century, the Spanish came, then the Dutch, the English were here, and then the French, and then after that the Japanese. So all around Damsui you can see remnants of those different cultures and those different colonialist forces. The Japanese were here from I think 1895 to 1945, just at the end of the Second World War. And there's also this guy that I'm sitting next to. All right, how's it going? It's a bit of a silent type. This is George Mackay, or the statue of George Mackay, and he arrived in 1872 in Damsui. He was the first Presbyterian missionary ever to come to Taiwan. He's a Canadian guy, and he ended up marrying a Taiwanese woman and staying here all his life. And he's credited with a whole bunch of good stuff, like opening up schools and also bringing in modern healthcare. He has 2 hospitals that are named after him. And a few other buildings in Taipei as well. And he's probably the best known foreigner who's ever lived in Taiwan. So there's George. They made a statue for him, and they made him a boat as well. Guess that's his medical case, and there's his Bible. And he sits here forever praying on the shores of Damsui, where he first arrived in 1872. This is the boardwalk, the jewel in the crown of Damsui. Now over there is Bali. It's an area that's very well known and popular with cyclists. They've got a little boardwalk over there as well. And yeah, this is, okay, it's early morning, but this is kind of what it's staying like all day. Now normally pre-COVID, and don't forget COVID's only really been here for about 3 or 4 weeks now. In the past 3 or 4 weeks it's kind of gone crazy. We're getting about 300 to 400 a day. But it's kind of eerie. I do like it at this time in the morning, but it's like this all day. And although I do like a quiet ride and a quiet stroll, I just wish it wasn't for the reasons that it is, which is that the disease has finally breached Taiwan's defenses. But I'm sure we'll get through it. I'm sure that Taiwan will do its best. We have a vaccine now, and there's definitely light at the end of the tunnel. Taiwan's done an amazing job. So I hope you enjoyed that. That was a little route that is my favorite route around Yangmingshan, one of my favorite routes. The whole thing takes about an hour and 45 minutes, an hour and 30 minutes, so it's not a big, long ride at all. You can extend it in all kinds of different ways by going up different mountains and going around the coast. And yeah, and also a little bit about Damsui, which is where I live, my adopted town. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please like, please subscribe, and hopefully I will see you again soon. Thanks for watching, take care of yourselves, bye bye.